All right, welcome back to the channel. AFK of RC, we got the Gilamon on the bench. Where are my manners? Welcome everybody, one and all, newcomers, new to the channel, return viewers, everybody, one and all. Thanks for coming out. This is, of course, the Gilamon, the Gilamon, the Gilamon, the what crawler canyon call it? The Ghoulie Moo, which is hilarious. This thing actually, it did pretty good in my opinion, and I kind of think the people who are giving it a hard time, I gotta move my mic, it's hitting me in the chin. The people who are saying that it wasn't good or the tires weren't good or whatever, I found it to be pretty good, and maybe my expectations, because they were set so low by all of the things that I watched, maybe that's why I was impressed. Quite happy, in fact, with the performance of the Gilamon. I thought it did just fine. Now, can it get better? Of course it can get better. Obviously it can get better. But I actually think the steering servo on this thing is really good. Now, I'm jumping all over the place, but the steering servo is really good. We're going to do a repair. This shock cap was loose somehow, and there is basically no oil left in this thing. And the internet has not provided a great answer. I got an answer, and it says to start with 30. Now, in my experience, I think that 30 is going to be too light, so I'm going to start with 37. I've got some 37 here. And if it's too heavy, I'll just take some out and add some 30. Or what do I got over there? Yeah, I got 30 and I got 25. So I'm going to start with 37. And if that feels like the rest of them, because I'm going to try to match it, then it's going to stay 37. If it's a little too light, I'll add some heavier. I've got, what I got over there? I got 60. I got 90. Oh, I got 45. I got I got a little bit of 45 in there. But if 37 is a little too light, I can add that 45 and then we'll see what happens. We're going to do a witch's brew of shock oil to try to make this leaky disappointment. That's not your fault. Somebody failed you. It wasn't your fault. We're going to get it back up and running. And I'm also going to go ahead and swap all these upside down as well. Even though, funny enough, the leak came from the top. It did not come from down here. So I guess that's kind of funny in its own right. Now, I don't have a proper shock tool. I tried to buy one at the hobby shop. You know, the one that lets you squeeze this without breaking it and clamp onto stuff without breaking it. I don't have that. So I'm going to use some rubber bicycle inner tube to give me some good grip on this. And then some toolbox drawer mat to do the same thing. Help pad things when I squeeze it with my pliers. Let's see, I got one chuck off. This one's loose over here. I'm going to flip her around. Everything's going to it's going to turn into just a big Gilamon nunchuck when I start pulling this stuff apart. There's nothing wrong with this shock, but since I'm going to swap them upside down, go ahead and take it off. Put that right back where I got it. Now, there was silicone fluid all over everything down here. Now, in the previous initial run video, I kept saying oil. Well, I mean, it's shock oil. We always call it shock oil, but it's actually just silicone. So it's not dangerous. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just slippery. You know, it's like like lube. You know. Anyway, go ahead and do this. I can get the tip in there. I'm standing up for this. No real reason, I guess. Sometimes I just feel like I can work faster if I'm standing instead of trying to sit. But put that in there for a couple of threads. Now, you can tell the front from the back and the back from the front because the back are considerably longer. So what I like to do is, if I'm able, I just put the screw right back where it was. Just a little bit. So it helps me keep track. See, look, yeah, how much longer that one is. So keeping track of them from front to rear isn't actually a chore. Just know that the ones in the back are longer. And if you can't remember that, then probably just stop. Stop doing the RC thing. I'm kidding. Just get better. You ever watch that Key and Peele? Talking about, don't be sorry, be better. Hilarious. If you haven't watched that show, they don't, the series ended, but if you can find them, they're all over YouTube. You gotta go. Those guys are hilarious. Get out of there. All right. Oh, went the wrong way on that one. Don't do that more than a couple times. Oh yeah, I stripped her out a little bit. That's okay. There's 2 holes, and if I have to, I'll just get a bigger screw, or run it all the way through with a nut. There's always a way to mess up, and there's always a way to fix it. Oh. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay. I'm also going to go ahead and take off the body panels and whatnot so we can program the thing. So we can get to the ESC. All these screws are the same length. These body ones. One of my many servo. It's 4 interior screws holding on the little dudes. Again, same length screws. These aren't holding a whole lot, so they don't have to be very long. There's one back here. This one is longer, like a 12 millimeter. And then Let's see. Yeah. Take that one. Now, should be able to, let's see, spread that apart. Yeah. I opted to do this instead of removing the whole bottom. I just need access to the top of the ESC, and it's right in here somewhere. Yeah. So it's right there. It's got this plug thing in it. I believe that's going to be, yeah, we can plug our programmer in there. It's got our plugs for the lights that it came with, but there is nowhere on here to mount the lights that it came with. So that's pretty dumb. What else can we see while we're in here? There's our 5-channel receiver, the Spectrum unit. Right there. A little bind button. Decent stuff. I actually thought that worked way better than I anticipated. It worked better than I thought it was going to. So I'm going to go ahead and program it. Shoot, might as well do that right now. That's pretty sturdy. Let me grab a battery. All right, this is the battery I was running yesterday in the video when we ran this. I could not remember. I was like, it's not a whatever. It's a ProTech 4800. Fits in here really nicely. And I don't know if this battery, its weight distribution, how it sits in the tray or whatnot, had anything to do with its performance, but I thought it performed pretty well. And there are a lot of things to do to make it perform even better. But I'll tell you what, for a trail only type RC out of the box, I can't be mad at this thing. I think it does okay. I think it does all right. Let's see. Move you out of the way. So we're going to plug our Spectrum, the 2.0 program box into there. That thing. You got to get the V2. The V1 doesn't work. I don't even think they sell those anymore. And if they do, they're wrong. All right. Ground's on the left. What is so good about the Spectrum box? Now, Hobbywing has one too. I've told you this 100 times. Everything's Hobbywing somehow. But you don't have to have a program card, or you don't have to have like a chart to read off of. This tells you what everything is. So anyway, we're just gonna, where's the switch? Turn it on. Maybe I will sit down for this one. So at first glance, it looks like it's not working. It is. You just have to tell it. Select. All right, gives us our software. We can change our running modes, forwards, reverse. I'm not going to change that. You can change it to forward, brake, reverse. I'm not going to change that. And it shows that the star is the default. Cool. LiPo on. Okay. Yeah, we run LiPos. Voltage cutoff medium. That's default. Auto. Yep. We'll go with that. Initial start. That's going to be like the punch. Let's just see what we get. If we want the very smoothest, we're going to pick the lowest number. 0 is a bit too low. So I'm going to go with 2. Save. Next. Max forward 100%. Yep. Doesn't go any higher than that. Max reverse 100%. Nah, I don't need that. I'm going to bump it down to, based on how it performed on the trail, I'm going to go down to 75. Max brake 50%. It seemed like it did okay. I'm going to wait on that. We should have a drag brake in here. The drag brake seemed to be just fine too. Let's look. Initial brake 0. That was fine. It didn't want to do flips, but it definitely stopped whenever I let the throttle off. So I think that that's fine. 100% drag brake, yeah. Doesn't get any better than that. Hobby wing, they do funny things where you can go like 120, 200% drag brake. Okay. Drag brake rate level 7. Let's see how many we have. So 7 is our default. Let's see what we got. Drag brake rate goes up to 9. I thought the drag brake rate was pretty good. It seemed to hold. Let's just keep it at 7. So the rate is how quickly it engages to fully locked drag brake. Especially if you have a very fast RC and a very high level rate with a high level of drag brake hold, you can do like front flips accidentally when you're on high traction surfaces. Neutral range, 7%. I never screw with that. Punch level 7. Ooh. All right, we got up to 9. We're going to 9, obviously. Because fun. All right, I spoke about this in another video. You can program the whine of a brushed ESC out of it by making that number higher. Let's see, 16 is as high as we go. We're going to save it. Now, what I have heard is that that can increase the heat inside the ESC, but I've never had a problem with it. And I don't like the whine. It is annoying. 7.4. Let's see if we got anything better. Nope, 7.4. It was already on 7.4, so that's cool. We'll keep that. Okay. Now, I did some research, and in order to get this to save, by the way, you just turn the RC back off. I did some research, and they have done a funny thing where the micro servo back here can run on 8.4 volts. The servo up front can run on 8.4 volts. But the lights cannot run any more than 7.4 volts. So the lights are an actual limiting factor in the electrical ecosystem on this RC. For whatever reason, they opted to do it that way. So that's how you program these things. Now we're going to take our little plug and stick it back in there. We may or may not even notice a difference in how this runs. But at the very least, well, we will. We'll notice that reverse isn't going to be as violent. It will not make that whiny noise. I can tell you right now, it's going to be quiet. Because I've done it 100 times with these things. Not this one. But the more punch We left the drag brake pretty much where it was. All the brakes, I think we left where it was, because I didn't think it really needed, I never felt like it needed more drag brake. It would hold on a very steep decline just fine. So I thought that was just fine. In any case, that's how you're going to program this if you decide to get one of these and keep the system that it comes with. And I actually don't think it was that bad. But that doesn't mean we're not going to put something better in it, obviously. And looking here, they got metal hexes. These look like ones for the Rift. And that's actually what I meant to compare these to. I had said the center drive shafts look like the 10th scale Baja Ray, and it does, but really these remind me of the Rift. These look like Rift drive shafts. So anyway, those are pretty durable, and these are probably going to be just fine as well. And while we're looking at it, West Desert Wheeler had talked about it, so I'm going to go ahead and mark these for the future, just for the ease and to also show you what we're talking about. There is on the drive shaft. These are molded circles, raised areas right here on either side of the drive shaft, the center drive shafts. That is so you can align them to make sure that your universal joints are in phase. Now, I don't exactly understand because I haven't dug into it, but you should be able to have them in phase if these two were 180 from each other, because these would still be in phase, traditionally what we know as being in phase with each other. Now, they have done something here that this is the only orientation where it is correct. I don't know what that is, but you as a user and a person who doing the maintenance, you need to know that those marks are there, and those are not just like incidental molding marks from the factory. Those are there and they have a purpose. Now they got ones up here in the front. I don't know if I can even. Yeah. One there. I'm going to mark that one. And one there. That's just to get my attention. Now, if these marks weren't here, what I always did, and I showed it in my a recent coyote video, is I would see the mark, or I would put it on my bench if it was all out, and I would have them in phase, and then I would just make a mark from that side to that side. So I'd know wherever, if I couldn't see the ends of them, say it's tucked up in here like this one is, I would just need to see the marks that were in between. And since I have this one rotated and the marks are over there and these marks are over here, for convenience, now I have it on both sides. So I'm going to swap this and then over here do the exact same thing for convenience. Mark both sides. That's just another little trick to not have to, well, put this in here blind and then try to, because this is all going to be flopping everywhere, trying to nunchuck on you until you get your shocks put back in. So that's just a little something you can do to make your life easier when you go to reassemble. Now, I'm not going to bother reassembling the body stuff on camera because I don't think you need to see me do that. Just a bunch of little screws, putting the panels back on, but the programming and just kind of showing, hey, plug your lights in there. And how, well, I guess if you have power tools, this can all be really quick and really easy. But not that hard to work on this thing. They did a pretty good job in that regard. And okay, let me put that aside. This shock is still fine. This one's still fine. This one's still fine. This is the one that's basically empty. We'll have a look and see just how bad it is. Oh, there's our spring. Yeah. I'm going to check all these anyway. Probably go ahead and just top them all off. Since they're already off, why wouldn't I do that? Now I'm going to go ahead and make sure you guys can actually see what I'm doing. I'm trying to line the center of the camera up with that so I know where to keep my work. See, I care about you guys. I want you to see what I'm doing. Otherwise, what's the point in any of this? Now, this doesn't need a whole lot of tension. I'm just going to snug that up with my fingers. Pretty strong fingers. So I think that's going to be just fine, and that is unscathed. Now, my goofy self, I didn't open the shock oil before I did this, so. I really do think 37 is going to be a good place to try this. Oh yeah, the O-ring's a little bit gnarled in there. Can you see it? It's not seated all the way down in there. So probably somebody, when they assembled these, experienced the resistance and thought, well, that's probably it. Time to go to lunch. And didn't actually investigate, because that was not all the way on there. But now that that's down in there, that we should get a pretty good seal. I'm just going to kind of let this rest. Cycle the shock a little bit and just hold that spring so it doesn't come out. It's almost all the way to the top, so we're likely going to have to bleed it a little bit with the cap. These have bleeder screws in them. This is annoying me. Boot brush. Walmart. Buy the shoes. I'm going to let that sit over here and bake 350. These are probably, yeah, I could rotate that with my hand. So none of these are really assembled that well. Unless I just think things ought to be way tighter than they are. Yeah, that seal is sitting in there properly. So that's good. Just a quick little top off. I usually put these in my vise. I'll just close the vise down where it only has enough width to accommodate probably like that edge, and it'll sit down in there, but the vise is off camera, and that's not very fair to you guys. And I lost track of which one's which, so I guess it doesn't matter now. Yeah, that one snugged down pretty easily with my fingers. It was tighter than the other one. These are all, I guess you don't have to really squeeze the tightness too much when you got a rubber O-ring. None of these were leaking. So oh yeah, that one was actually pretty full. Did not need a whole lot at all, if really any. That one's going to be bleeding a whole lot. Yep. Now let me stop. Yeah, that one pretty tight. I got it a little bit tighter. Like, I'm not using tools, so I just refuse to believe that I'm over tightening it with my bare fingers. No tools or anything. Yeah, that one wasn't looking too bad either. All right. Let's see how this one fares. I think this is that seal looks like it's the one that was getting a little bit wonky. We're going to put it back on. Yeah, this is the same one because it was extra slippery. That actually worked out really nicely. I'm getting full compression. Nice rebound. Yeah, that amount of oil actually was perfect. I doubt I'll get lucky 3 more times. This doesn't even need to be bled. That one's good. I'm going to let those do their thing real quick. Now, again, I don't have the tool for this, so this is going to be barbaric to those of you who do have the tool. But I'm going to, excuse me, I'm just going to grab a hold of this. Is steel. I'm just going to grab a hold of this and then use the angle of the pliers to just kind of do that. All right. It looks worse than it is. Now for this, all I do, it's probably help if I get in frame, is pinch the bottom side of it and then pinch right here and kind of twist. But I do this without pinching myself. Yeah, about like that. If you have the right tool, this is way easier. But this is necessary for the fronts because I have to put this one on the bottom. And that part's way easier. That one feels pretty good. Let's see if we can make this one feel like that. We'll see if the oil was the right choice, if 37 was right. So this is the front. I'm just going to use the rubber to help me get a better grip on it. No tools. Let's see how this feels. This one's got a little bit too much oil. I can't get compression all the way down. If we wanted it to ride a little bit higher, we could leave it like this and then adjust that one. I'm going to bleed it. Get some of that out of there. So I'm pressing it down, and then once I get it to where I want it, I'll tighten it back up. Now you want to make sure that you keep the bleeder hole facing up the path in which air is going to flow outward with the oil. And then don't let the shock rebound back out until you've closed the bleeder screw. Yeah. This one got a little air in it. But those feel pretty similar. You only actually hear the air in this one at the very bottom of the stroke, so I'm not super worried about that. I think that's going to be just fine. They feel close enough to me. I super doubt that I will actually be able to tell the difference driving it. Yeah, I think those are going to be just fine. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with these and spare you watching me do it. I'm just going to make sure that those feel about the same and act the way that those do. And then we'll come back And let's see. I guess I'll come back with them. I'm going to show you what to do about this screw that's too long. Okay, I've opted to come back a little bit earlier because I'm going to sidetrack. It's important. But the rear shocks are on. I'm going to wait to do the front shocks because they're going to be in the way for what I'm about to do. But those went on, and they are quite nice and quite smooth. They are upside down. They feel pretty good. I think we're going to get some good performance out of this. I didn't have a problem with them before, but you know, in the interest of them potentially not leaking upside down, and now that both ends are actually tight, probably. Okay. All right. Make sure y'all are in frame. I'll take the hood off. It's just 2 screws. One there, one there. It's right there. I just left them in there. Those are a little longer. Those are about 10 millimeter. Not 12. They're about 10. So they're not going to be as long as the ones that go on the actual cage that hold cage pieces. So what I am going to do now, while this is kind of already apart, is change this ridiculous location for these rock lights. Take this battery strap and tighten it up a little bit. And oh, there it is. This clamp onto the cage fairly simply. Right there. 1.5. Yep. Peel that off. Looks like there are. See, that's a zip tie. The zip tie is probably okay. Nah, it's a little restrictive. We'll figure out if we actually need that zip tie once we get it where we want it. I'm going to go ahead and cut the one over here too, because I can kind of already see that these are in series. So we've got the one wire that goes into this one and then out of this one and then comes over here to that one. And passenger front is the end. Take that screw off, set it aside. I'm not going to worry about the rears. They're already okay. I just needed to push them down a little bit so they spread light out that way a little bit better. There we go. All right, let's break you free from your little goofy prison. Okay, I'm going to set this one in first because it has the limit of how much wire it has. And I'm going to put it, I think, right here. Pretty please. I wonder. Nope, it would hit the shock that way. It's got to go like this. Yeah. About like that. Let's see. Now that at least faces down where it ought to be. Down towards the ground. I would like it to go that way. I wonder if I can, because the screw clamp piece here doesn't want to fit in between this thing. I wonder if I could force it a little bit. Just maybe ask nicely, you know? Throw some needle nose in there and give them a little twist to flex the cage. Like that. Now it's going to face out and down towards the tire where I want it. Sweet. All right, let's try this one. We still got plenty of... Do I need to pull more? Because that's just trapped in there with a zip tie. Let me pull a little bit more. There we go. Just enough. Just enough. Get you to... like... There we go. Nice. That wasn't that bad. That wasn't that bad at all. They probably were going to put them up here. Then they realized, like, oh wait, this piece conflicts with that piece, and we don't want to fix it. Okay, that's about centered there. That's about centered there. That's going to give us the most flex out of the cage pieces anyway to get the rotation that we're looking for. These are not load bearing, so don't go reefing on that screw. Now I'm going to do the same trick. Just put my needle nose in there, twist it to get some room in the cage, and then rotate the light down and out like I want. And then when I get it where I want, the cage tension kind of traps it there nicely. Just see if it looks like it's sort of aligned. We can mess with that later if we want. And get some new zip ties. Re-secure the wire back to the cage. Make it good and proper. Hey, let me know down in the comments. Do you like this kind of stuff? Am I wasting my time in camera? Yeah, it's free. Yeah, just delete it. But do you guys like these little how-to tutorial? Is it boring? Should I tell jokes, or would it be funnier if maybe I were intoxicated? Because that is always an option. I don't know. Some people don't drink, which is cool. Totally cool. Where are you? There you go. I don't think I need to include both sides. That's going to be just fine. Use the old Leatherman pliers like a surgical forceps where my fingers can't fit. I think that is gonna do just fine. I think that's gonna do just fine. I'm gonna pull a little bit of this through because I got a little bit sagging underneath. I'll pull that slack up here where it's safe. And now it's not sagging down here. Yeah. Now we're good. The lowest thing hanging is the battery strap. We'll get back out. Cool. Let's See it. See if I didn't break it. Well, this also lets me represent and show you how quiet it is now. All you hear is drivetrain. It's pretty loud drivetrain, but you don't hear the ESC whine. And look, our rock lights are no longer blinding people. They're shining down where they belong, on the ground and on your frame and on the cool parts we want to glow at night. That was incredibly easy, and I wish they had done it for us. Okay, we're going to shut it off. I'm going to show you real quick. Where the hell is the switch? You think it was my first day doing this? There it goes. All right. So how I am going to address the screw, the long screw that they left in here, is stick this on. All right. You can use a marker. I'm just going to do this because I have it. I know that the screw has to go on that far. So I'm going to take my file and score that screw right there. Then I'm going to come over here and go get me a tool of violence towards metal. I'm going to line my bolt cutter up with the most inward portion of that mark. Oh, wait. That almost messed it up. Before I do that, I'm going to put this back on. Yeah, it's already kind of chewed up for me just doing that to it. Oh no, it's spinning on the inside. The reason I'm putting this on, so whenever I cut this and spin this back off, it'll clean the threads up. If I've done this right, you only have that much right there to worry about. If not, I'm going to be looking for a new screw, which I have. You can always put this on with some Loctite too. So I got a little bit sticking out right there. Probably go ahead and file that down a little bit more. I got full size grown man files over there in the toolbox. But that is essentially how I'm going to handle this. Put it together, score it, take it apart, put the nut back on it, cut it, use a hacksaw, use one of these, use a Dremel, whatever you do. But put that back on first, or put a sacrificial one on, say one that is not going to be used for this. Another one, like just these are all pretty standard, but this one has the that flange on it. So if you care about that, then use a different nut and then save that one for when you actually put it back together. But to me, that's going to be just fine. I am going to file that off a little bit more, though. And that's it. Shocks fixed. Rock lights repositioned where they make any sense at all. Screw shortened. I'll do it to the other one off camera. ESC programmed. And then just put it all back together in reverse order. Remember, the really short ones are for the body and for the interior. The longest ones are for the actual cage. These are 12 millimeter. And then the 10 millimeters are going to be for the hood, if you take the hood off and do all this stuff. But that is going to do it. I'm going to button this all up off camera, and then we're going to try it again, get a little more runtime out of it. I thought it was pretty good. Need to think about what kind of upgrades and doodads I'm going to do next, because there's a lot for this thing. So let me know down in the comments what you think. What ought to be the next thing? I'm inclined to put a bunch more lights on it because I like doing lights. And I appreciate you stopping by and hanging around. It's been almost an hour. Boy, I'm really good at making hour-long videos. But I think this one had a lot of substance and a lot of value in it. So if you did watch it, give me that like, subscribe, all the cool things. You know, well, all the cool kids are doing it, so you should do it too. And I certainly appreciate it. And I want to thank you again. And we'll see you in the next one. Later.